Hi everyone, it's Vicky here and welcome to another Mixed Media Tuesday. Today I'm going to start with a flip through and I'm going to show you these ring binded journals, and these are all projects that I have been sharing as shorts or reels on my Instagram and Facebook account. But I thought that it would be fun today to show you how I put these together because I get so many questions, and I'm going to show you a method on how I like to do these pages. Now, there are many advantages of putting these pages together. First of all, this is not a book, so I can go as dimensional as I like for each project. So I can use foam squares if I want, I can use bulky elements like maybe metals or things that I wouldn't normally use on a page inside a book. Then you can have it with any paper that you like. You can make the page any size that you like, so you're not restricted by the usual restrictions that we have on a book. Again, all these pages are posted here on YouTube as well as shorts, so you can definitely check them out. The size is 6x6, so they could be cards if you want, if you're not into art journaling. And you can see that I do use lots of die cutting and many traditionally card making supplies. Now, the shorts videos are not here to replace my weekly art journaling post here on YouTube. However, they are great bites of inspiration and I really post many of them because they're really quick to make and I don't have to do a lot of editing. And here's another example with smaller pages this time, but it is again the same disc bind system, so you don't have to be restricted by size. However, I get so many questions about the size of the square pages that I make, so today I'm going to show you how I make them. Basically, I use premium cardstock. This is the Pitch Black by Arden. I like it because it has a woven texture and it is really nice and thick, so the album is going to end up nice and sturdy. And of course, you don't have to go with black. You can use any pattern paper for the background. However, I like to have pages that are 6x6 where I stick the smaller page on top. This kind of creates a frame. If you go with black, you will see that the black is going to kind of match with pretty much every project. So it is the easy way to go, but if you find that another color is going to elevate your project or complement it even more, you can definitely use another color. And you have seen some examples here. So I start with a 12x12 cardstock and I cut it twice at 6, so I end up with 4 different pages that are all 6x6, so no waste at all. Then I use my punch, and this is the multi-cinch, which is going to give me 4 holes for the rings, as you can see. And this way I create the pages. Now from here, all you have to do is to just select the rings. And there are plenty of rings available in the market in various sizes. Keep in mind that the larger the ring, the more pages you are going to be able to fit in one booklet, plus you will be able to add more bulk in each page. And of course, not only variety in sizes, but also variety in colors, as you can see, and also in material. You will find some that are plastic, and I do have some metallic ones as well. And one last tip before I start making the project for today, keep in mind that if you want to have that junk journal look and feel, you can definitely alternate the size of the pages and just bind them together. You will see that no matter how big or small the page is, they are always going to fit because you are using the same punch. So you can be creative. You can even add envelopes in between. You can add acetate pages. You can have pockets. I'm sure you can think of way more ways to put things together. So for today's project, I'm going to start with a background pattern paper. But again, you can definitely start with a white page. If you have a fear of the white page, however, it is a great way to start with a background page because you can have something already there, and then I will show you a method on how you can alter it without thinking at all. So just follow the steps and you will see that it works every time. Now to demonstrate, I'm going to pick a background paper from the All Around collection, but look into your stash and find a background paper that is quite neutral and not too busy in terms of design and color. And I'm going to cut it to be 5 by 5. You will be able to have 4 5 by 5 pages from this pattern paper, and I'm going to keep the rest for another project because they are nice and are really neutral, so they make great bases. Now I went with 5 by 5 before because my black page is 6 by 6 and I want to have a little bit of a border all around. So I'm going to show you now how you can alter this background paper no matter what it has on top. What you need is to grab an acrylic paint and with a stiff brush that is not dipped in water at all, it is completely dry, I'm going to add some brush strokes on the two opposite corners. Make sure that you don't cover up the whole pattern paper. You want to still see the background here and there, but we are introducing some color and we are making this paper our own. With the leftover paint, just add some splatters here and there. I just diluted that acrylic paint with water to make it more runny, and I'm happy with how it looks. I'm going to make sure that this layer of paint is completely dry, and then I will move on into another color. Now this time I'm going to work with white, and I'm going to apply the white with very soft brush that is again dry. Again I'm doing dry brushing very lightly over where I have applied the previous color, no matter what color that was. Trust the process, it is going to look just fine at the end. So this is going to give kind of an artistic look, it's going to make the color look softer, it kind of blends everything together. Notice that I'm not covering what I have underneath. With the very light brush strokes, I'm just creating some highlights. Now I'm going to go ahead and do some inking all around the edges with brown dye ink. This is not a step that is important for the method that I'm showing you today, but if you want to have more of a vignette look or turn it into kind of vintage looking, you can definitely do that. The more brown you add on a project, the more vintage it's going to look, so I'm not going to overwhelm the page with brown. I'm only doing that on the corners and the far edge of the page. So I am also going to add some brown splatters. I'm using aqua color here. Now this is spray paint by Stamperia that dries permanent, so no matter what I do later on, it's not going to smudge or smear. But you can definitely do the splattering with brown dye ink or acrylic paint, whatever works. I am going to move on to the next step, which is stamping. You can use any background stamp for that. I like to go with text, but patterns are also great for backgrounds. I am stamping with permanent black ink, so again, no matter what I decide to do on top, it's not going to show. It's not going to smudge or smear, and I tend to go in the visual triangle, as you can see, to create my backgrounds, and also I like to use the bigger fonts to kind of stamp around the border to create a frame. For the next step of altering a pattern paper and make it your own, you can definitely use some stenciling. You can do stenciling with inks and ink blend over it. You can use paste, whatever works. I like to go with my volume paste, and I'm kind of obsessed with this stencil lately. I find that the design is so pretty and it matches pretty much everything. So I'm going to go on two corners. I either go on the two corners or I go in a visual triangle with the details that I like to add. And here are some tips. Always pick the paste with the back of your spatula because that's how you are going to apply it. The top of your spatula can remain clean. As you apply the paste, scrape off the excess, put it back in the jar, and you will have minimal cleanup time because the stencil is pretty much cleaned as I scraped off all the excess. So the background is looking really pretty as it is. I am going to move on now and pick the focal points as the paste dries. For my focal points, I'm going to pick up some cutouts from the junk journal booklets. There are two booklets, a bigger and a smaller one. They have different designs included, but they are all from the same collection. In any case, for focal points, you can definitely go with ephemera. You can use those cutouts. You can stamp your own images, color them, cut them out, and put the cluster together. There are so many different options. Always remember, in art journaling, there is no right or wrong. Whatever makes you happy is the way to go. So for today, I'm going with images that I popped out from the junk journal booklets. I like to pick my main focal point first, and that was the watercolor set. And then I like to find layers that I can tuck behind, as well as elements that I can place on top, just to create a cluster with lots of layers. But although it seems quite easy to do, it is really difficult to balance a cluster in terms of colors as well as shapes. So keep in mind that the more you create, the better you get in clustering, and you will end up with clusters that are very pleasing to the eye. Now, what I like to do on my clusters is always ink up the edges because I don't want to see that white edge. Sometimes I rough up the edges with the edge of my scissors. You can see that in some elements I do some stamping using the same stamp that I used for the background, just to bring everything together, to have the same detail here and there. And then if you can introduce some different textures, go ahead and do that. You can do that either with ribbons, with lace, think of burlap, think of metal elements like this eyelet, for example, think of strings that you can incorporate. Different elements is going to make your page look more interesting. And then it's just a matter of layering everything one on top of the other. Remember, this way of binding the pages allows us to add some dimension. So here I can definitely use some foam squares at the back, and why I like this is because it creates natural shadows. I don't have to ink anything here because the layers are going to pop nicely one on top of the other with natural shadows, just because I add foam squares at the back. Now, in terms of balancing your cluster, you see I have some purple flowers on one side. I'm going to add another purple flower on the other side. And since I have introduced some green at the bottom corner, I'm going to add some green at the top. It's all about adding elements that are balancing the cluster. So not only in terms of a shape, but also in terms of colors too. And if you notice, I only add glue at the center of my elements, or the foam square at the center of my elements. This is going to allow me to add elements later on. As you can see here, I had an afterthought. Why not? Let's add an extra brush. So I'm able to slide it in with no issues at all. Now, I always like to add a quote or a word on my pages. I'm going to go with create here. And just to introduce a different texture, I'm going to use this frayed ribbon as the back. So I'm just going to stick create on top of that. And then I just place that with glue on top of my page. The word create was again from this collection. And I'm going to use glue at the back of my page and stick it on top of my black page that I have the punched holes there. Keep in mind that the eyelet on that tag gives me the opportunity to add some thread or twine or ribbon if I want to, which is always welcomed on a mixed media page because it gives different texture. Here's an afterthought. I just pulled out the brush, the short brush again, and I'm cutting out just a little bit from the bottom, which is not going to show because it's behind that watercolor set. And then that little bit I'm going to stick it at the bottom, making that brush look even longer, but I think it helps on the balancing of the elements. And I like playing with little details like that. It really makes me happy. Now this page is pretty much done. All I'm doing are the finishing touches. I like to use a fine black marker to add some black sketchy lines in some of the cutout elements. This is not very visible, but in real life it makes a difference because it helps those elements pop against what is underneath. Kind of creates a shadow. And then I also like to add some highlights here and there, again randomly, very sketchy lines with my white gel pen. And finally I'm going to add my favorite white splashes. I get a lot of questions about the white splatters. What you want to do is to use a very fine brush, use white acrylic paint or calligraphy ink, and always make sure that you tap away a couple of times before you go ahead and tap on your project. And really don't freak out with bigger blobs. Sometimes we want them, but if you don't want them, you can always dab them like so with a baby wipe or a clean paper towel. And because I don't know when to stop, I'm going to add a last touch, and I'm using my gold contour liner to add some dots at the center of my flowers. So that was the project for today. I am super happy with how it looks. I hope that you had fun, that you got inspired. Links to everything I used are down below in the description. Thank you all so much for joining me, and I'll see you all next time.